lap for Van Gisbergen with the quickest time in Sector 1, personal best over the top of the hill, and it equals a 2-minute 5.77. After that's really made a decent little margin on there. It's 1.39 seconds.
1.4, that's awesome work.
And put about 4/10 of a second on him, 4.5 of a second on him in that last lap. It was interesting when we were riding with Cam, when he got down into the high-speed part of the right-hander of the chase, just had to roll that bottle ever so slightly.
And you can find also that cool suit not working might have knocked him around. So physically, at this point, with the number of qualifying laps they've done,
yeah, the physical demand would be just getting nasty. That's not a good situation that we're dealing with. So when you saw those provisional points up there before, you're still imagining that Whincup was classified, but he will not be classified. He hasn't made 75% distance. The Kiwi fans are probably starting to think long and hard about the possibility of having a good time, about a Kiwi victory.
where's Murph? Has he gone missing? Oh, there he is.
He's lurking up the back.
There he is.
So, yeah, close but no cigar just yet, but he's done another fastest first sector show that is. So 51.3. You know, he'll be bombing that into the braking area up at turn 2 and just using momentum and leaning on that front tyre up there. Cast your mind back to Sandown 2019 when he and Garth Tander last raced together. They were in this kind of commanding position, and then they had a failure.
That's right.
Late in the game, they were a great pairing on that very same day, and that was the last round of the Pertec Enduro Cup at that point, and then it got snatched away from them. So this one potentially might close out those demons as well. 1.6 seconds is the gap. 10 to go. 2 minutes 6 flat. 2.64 for Waters. He's just starting to lose touch with him at the moment, and Van Gisbergen is just starting to squeeze this margin out.
Comfortable with the pace. Keep focus. 6.4 for Waters.
It's the trend in the last 3 laps between the two drivers. 5.8, 5.7, 6 flat for Shane. 6.1, 6.2, 6.4 for Waters. So Cam just lost a little bit at the edge. Now, whether it's from him, from Mark's point, that he's hurting, or whether it's because the car's just losing a bit of its balance, we'll find out a little bit later on. Chaz Mostert, there he is in the foreground. Car number 25, he's sitting in third at the moment, potentially the podium. Former winner in this location. 13 seconds off the lead at the moment, 13.9 in fact.
Gisbergen going to be relieved by that gap now from both, because it's 2 seconds, so he will put the mirrors on.
You know what that does? If Chaz Mostert finishes where he is, he puts, you know who, back on the podium again. Warren Luff means that Warren Luff will turn it from 5 podiums from the last 8 starts to 6 from the last 9. So he's just going to continue this ridiculous performance as a co-driver. But we're not there yet. This is the real nail-biting edge of the race, where when you've done your job during the day and you're out of the car and you're sitting there waiting,
please repeat that message. Something about the cutting, mate. Nothing important. Down back straight as well, please. Down straight and back straight.
He said nothing important was the answer. Talk to me up and down the straights. So he's actually looking for a bit of encouragement here. So he said something about the cutting. Nothing important. He's got the margin out now to 1.9 seconds. Will Davison, the co-driver for Cam Waters. Chief Executive Officer of Tickford Racing is Tim Edwards on screen. Here's our race leader. 9 to go. 2 second mark.
They've got on the factory Commodores this weekend. Thanks, Holden fans. What a way this would be.
6.5 for Waters. His full suit is failed, so he's hurting more than you.
Holden fans and Holden. I think he said they're talking about Cam Waters having a drama with his cool suit. I think Shane said, well, I haven't got a cool suit at all. So that's what he was saying. It's a great way for the factory team to finish off what has been a remarkable 2020. And everybody involved with the Supercars in Motorsport Australia, and to so much to our volunteers and officials here again this weekend. There's roughly 350 of them. Big shout out to Supercars General Counsel Anthony Hogarth, who put all our return to racing plans together for government. We've been through those races back-to-back in Darwin and Townsville. Here we go, it's a safety car.
Here we go.
Safety car at the end. Can you believe it?
Oh, look at Mark Dutton's reaction. So Jack Smith has gone into the gravel.
Safety car boards and flags.
On the race management channel, they've lit up the word that the safety car will be deployed. We've got trouble here also for car number 2 late in the game. Bryce Forward has put some damage on the Mobil 1 Minis entry. So all of a sudden, things erupt with 9 to go. Is this a game changer?
It's a game changer.
Oh my goodness, the tension in the garages. Jamie Whitcup there on screen. Shane van Gisbergen, he looks like he's working hot and hard out there. We know that Waters has been battling, and that's a sad sight with the damage on the left rear corner. Garth Tander knows the implications. When you condense the field like this, you're not necessarily off the hook. Mark Dutton, David Couchy, Jamie Whitcup, they are looking on the same screens that you are, and they can see Jack Smith heavily parked up in the gravel trap down here, and here's why. Pinch the brake at the bottom of the chase, and it's gone in at very high speed. It's actually plucked the tyre off the rim in the process, tried to pick it up on the throttle and get it back out there and couldn't. So that triggers the KO safety car. Young Jack Smith, who's been partnered today with Jack Perkins at Brad Jones Racing, capping off an evil day, unfortunately, for them. The hope there is that Macaulay Jones has been able to get together with Tim Blanchard the cool drive entry up into 13th, and this is what happened to Forward at the same time. Smacks the concrete wall of the S's on the run to the dipper off the top of Skyline. Here's the replay again. Now, what triggered this, Mark?
I don't know. I was looking before. He's actually too wide, isn't he? He's made the turn at the S's too tight, and then he's popped off that inside curb. He's then grabbed the left-hand front wheel, locked the brake, and then can't steer it. So he's always trying to modulate the brake pedal. He can't do it. It's now understeering directly into the fence, and he almost... Well, he does. He actually misses slightly the right-hand fence, but now he can't get it turned at all, and he's going into the left-hand barrier. Right there.
And that's really substantial damage late in the game. What a drama.
Total ends of the track. So one's down at the chase, one's at the top of the hill, and he got
nothing to do with each other. And yeah, weird one. So just pinched the brake up there, and the minute those front tyres are not rotating, he can't steer the car. Bruce Stewart closest to camera, team owner Ryan Walkinshaw, and deep frustration in there. The good news for the team is that one of their drivers at the moment is potentially on the podium in Chaz Mostert. But this field has tightened back up. Julian Stannard on the right, Brad Jones closest to camera. And what a day it's been. Now, here we go again. History repeats. A sprint to the conclusion of the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. And last year, if you recall, we had an absolute sprint for a couple of laps at the back end. Andre Heimgartner ended up in trouble up at the cutting late in the game. So 2 cars to recover in this process, and that's Bryce Forward, young, originally a Northern Territorian. Good news is he's okay, but he will be devastated. Likely young driver who's done an awesome job this week. It's just been re-signed. Earlier in the day, spoke to Zach Brown, co-owner of the team from McLaren, and they just declared earlier in the week that he would be staying with the team next year after doing a ripping job and getting on the podium. So a little conversation going on in the garage down there at Brad Jones Racing. Nervous moments, if you will, Davison. He's seen it all before, though. It's a familiar feeling.
And does this rejuvenate the Watersmobile? I think it does.
And the driver.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Garth Tander, the big question is, Scafie just says it, does this rejuvenate the Watersmobile? Or, I mean, Shane, great pace there. Can he get back in that great zone he was in again?
Oh, look, we would have probably preferred it to stay green all the way to the end because he was in a really good place, but he's pretty good at restarts too, so he's all recharged, ready to go. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know who the Bathurst scriptwriter is, but they get it right every year, don't they?
Great for TV, mate. That's all that matters anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks, GT.
Right. Cheers, mate.
the Bathurst group. Will Davison is riding itself beautifully. We saw that front ride height change for your car at the last one. Will that help you here in this little period?
Well, it's an opportunity, isn't it? And I tell you, the pace and the intensity those guys are running is amazing. And I know Cam's been having a crack on those fresh tyres, but it's difficult in the dirty air, and obviously just using those tyres up a bit too much. But we've got another restart, another opportunity now, and you wouldn't want any other guy really in the car than Cam, because he'll have a crack if there's half a chance.
Nervous and also very exciting moments up ahead.
I am, but the team's done an amazing job. It's been a crazy year, and it's been so good to be back in the car today. And hey, you can just only do your best, and tell those guys at the front has been a seriously impressive couple of stints. So, hey, let's see what happens on this restart. I'm nervous, but there's nothing I can do.
Thanks, Will.
Cheers, thanks.
Warren Luff, the colour just drained out of your face. How are you feeling right now?
Probably about the same as you, I'd say. Yeah, like obviously it's we were sort of quite comfortable there in third, but now obviously we're in a shot to be able to sort of have a crack at those sort of front two cars. But it's just going to be interesting to see how long this safety car actually takes, and then it's going to be it will be a sprint to the flag. So it's high tension, and yeah, I'm walking around in circles right now.
You're running out the pacing on the floor. Good luck.
Thanks.
Bryce Fullwood's out of that car. Warren Luff's just done a remarkable job here. Runner-up in 17 and 18, third in 12, 13 and 15, and vying for an opportunity to get yet another podium today if his teammate Chaz Mostert can stay in that position. So the medical team have grabbed Bryce. That car, though, looks very, very second-hand as they, meantime, at the bottom of the hill, now drag the Jack Smith car out of the gravel trap down at the bottom of the chase. Another remarkable day at Mount Panorama, our fourth safety car intervention as they retrieve the vehicles out of there. And the order at the moment, when they do restart, will be Van Gisbergen, Waters, Mostert, Coulthard, McLaughlin, Pye, Holdsworth, Winterbottom, Di Pasquale and Courtney. A couple of co-drivers are in their cars at the moment as well. James Moffat in car number 55 is sitting in 11th, and St Goddard is sitting in 14th position. So who's got firepower, Mark Scaife, at the back end of this when we go racing again with probably 5 laps remaining?
Yep, 5 laps remaining, I reckon it's about the number. And what also happens with blokes that have got history, Mostert versus Waters. So Van Gisbergen will be trying to make the best restart he can. Waters will be trying to make an audacious move in the early phase because he knows that he's been behind Van Gisbergen for so long that if they get into a stable combat and the way that they've raced over the last 2 stints, he's probably not going to be able to get down the inside. So he's going to be able to make a move immediately. And does Mostert now go, wow, I'm there, I'm down the inside of them? Because in the early part of the stints, he's been good. So this will freshen their tyre. Maybe, in terms of consistency, it brings Mostert into it.
And sometimes, off the back of these safety car restarts, your car is rejuvenated, and tyres are strong, and away you go. And then there are other occasions where all of a sudden it's like, where did my firepower go?
Yeah, because it flies in the face of good vehicle consistency. When you've got great tyre temperature and pressure and the car's flowing really nicely, all of a sudden all that disappears. So the temperature comes out of the tyre, the pressures decrease, the balance of the car changes. It'll take 2 or 3 laps probably to get back to the balance that you had before. So it's a matter of reading the play and understanding how much grip you've got when you do resume in full race spec. And there's your current podium and the team's looking on. It's stressful. It's the ultimate game of thinking on your feet, this one. And now it comes down to, can you believe, we've got 7 laps remaining. We'll probably have 5 to go when we resume proper race conditions. After 161 laps, it's just mad.
This is what happened to Bryce Fullwood. One of the reasons why we've got a safety car. Locked up, and once he got it all locked up, he couldn't release it because he had too much pace. And then it's just steered straight into the wall. There's a big long list of cars that will go through the pit lane as they comply with the procedure near the back end of the race as well, so that they're not interfering with anybody in sequence. So cars a lap down must reposition themselves via the pit lane. It's not a wave-by scenario at the back end of the race. Chad?
So just to confirm exactly what happened, not just to Bryce Fullwood, which was a lock-up for him, and unfortunately no mechanical error, but with Jack Smith there was a right rear failure. They noticed, talking to Paul Forgy, that the tyre pressure was starting to just drop going down Conrad, and then the right rear let go just at that critical moment through the chase.
Thanks for the update. So, unfortunately for Jack, then he would have been a passenger in that process. Okay, we're going to get a restart of this lap. It's good. It's going to give us 6 laps. Yeah, they've done a masterful job to manage that. So, well done to everybody in the Supercars recovery team. Got them back on the Hino truck to get them back out of the way. Hopefully, drag them out of harm's way. So, Van Gisbergen, Waters, Mostert. The 2 Shell V-Power racing cars are line astern as well. Here we go. Shane's got control of the field. It reignites, and as they cross the line, there's going to be just 6 laps remaining. The green flag flies. We're ready to conclude the 2020 Super G Auto Bathurst 1000. And here comes Cam Waters.
This is the critical exit. You've got to come out of here well. If you get the slipstream, you get the toe up the hill, you can get down the inside at turn 2. Did he come out there well enough? We'll follow him up the hill. It's almost 260 kilometres an hour. And he moves it over slightly. He moves by one leg, flicks the other. He can't get down there yet. He's just a little bit too far back. But that's close.
Early in the stint on this set of tyres, Waters was racing and pulling those moves, and then he just faded towards the end. And now here's an opportunity to reignite this attack, and he's got Mostert right behind him, followed by Coulthard, and then McLaughlin in here as well. So they're all bunched up. Tyres have cooled out, temperatures have dropped, and it's on for the back end of this race once more. We're riding now with Chaz over the top of the mountain. What's it look like and sound like? Cam Waters drops the right rear too far off the edge of the racetrack that time. We saw it happen a couple of laps earlier as well, but that was spooky. Oh, more trouble now. So we've got a drama for Goddard, who's plucked the right front out of that car. And where's this thing going to land? And what impact on this race with just 6 laps to go? Van Gisbergen's hanging on by 0.5 of a second. Will there be another safety car? What will happen at Bathurst this year? Unbelievable conclusion to the race as always. He's parked up in the runoff area at Skyline. Now, what is going to happen there?
You've probably got to call a safety car again. You can't leave it there, can you?
Well, it's up to Motorsport Australia Race Control. That car does not look good. It's had a nasty whack for Matt Stone Racing. So Van Gisbergen's got 0.5 of a second. It's these folks in here that have to make the choice to decide whether we race to the flag or do they leave the car parked in that position. What a difficult decision. Safety car is being deployed because we've seen so many cars go through there so far this weekend. Oh my goodness me. This is almost a carbon copy of what happened last year. The KO safety car's about to launch once more.
You were right there, Neil, at 220 kilometres an hour. You can't just leave the car parked there. So that's the right call. It's absolutely the right call in terms of safety. So Motorsport Australia and our race director, Tim Shank, a hugely experienced motorsport person, Formula 1 driver of yesteryear, sports car driver at the highest level, has made the call, and the safety car has been deployed. 5 laps remaining. That's crazy, man.
This is race, isn't it? It's going to be determined by a 2 or a 3 lap race again. Yeah. It's going to be determined by a 15 to 20 kilometre race. So what happened here? Well, they just steer straight up into the wall on the run between Reed Park and McPhillamy, and that's a heavy whack. That will hurt that one when you hit that concrete wall there at that sort of pace. Look at the lock that he's got on. He knows what's going to happen. It's understeered into the wall and crunch.
That is a bone shaker.
And Matt Stone will drop his head. What a traumatic weekend for the group of men and women in that garage. It's a new, young team. They've put in a valiant effort this weekend. They've had their trauma, and that puts an awful exclamation mark on the conclusion of proceedings for them. And that's Zane Goddard, who stepped out of the car. He's done a mighty job this weekend, pace-wise as well. In fact, the 2 young drivers that have shared this car, it's already been damaged earlier in the weekend, but they've been both consistently quick. And here we are inside both garages, down at Tickford and at the Red Bull Holden Racing team.
So it gives Cam Waters one more little sniff of being able to sneak down the inside. And for Shane Van Gisbergen, it means that he's got to come up with a way got to come up with a way of doing a restart that gives him a little gain. This is on board with James Courtney. The end of Mountain Straight. And what happens is there's all these different techniques of how you achieve the restart. Shane's already used one of his techniques. There's this understeer. Have a look at how much lock he's got on and see the brake light come on. So he knew he was in the fence and see how hard he's turning it. So that's young Zane Goddard. And Zane, as Neil just said before, has done a really good job. He's only 21 years of age. And that's about a 70 or 80 grand connection with the fence.
Yeah.
A lot of damage.
Possibly more.
Yeah.
And it's been a difficult weekend. They've done engine changes down there. They already had damage with this car from a shunt earlier in the weekend, so they'll just be scraping nuts and bolts back into the transporter for the forlorn trip home. There is Zane Goddard. What a disappointment, but he'll fight back. He's a guy with credentials, a young guy in a hurry, and that was just part of all the learning curve of dealing with this racetrack.
Yeah.
And you know, we've seen a few of the young guys get in strife this weekend, and that's typical of the early days. Have a listen to this. Ouch. Concrete wins. Van Gisbergen waters Most at the order when they get this secure back up onto the Hino truck. Then we'll be able to get back underway once more. And what about the tension inside these garages? How do you reckon the heart rates are travelling at Tickford and at Red Bull at the moment? Because anything can happen. I mean, we just see this year after year after year at the back end of the race. It's not a foregone conclusion. It looks as though Shane's got a tiny bit of pace in hand at the moment, but it's not enough to put your glasses down and suddenly rest. And for Waters, it's so much to play for. Mark Dutton's seen it all before. He's the team manager of the Red Bull Holden Racing team. David Couchy will regularly be the engineer for the Triple Eight car for Jamie Whitcomb and Craig Lowndes. They're out of business today, but this guy's well in the game. He leads the race, and this is the one that's been escaping him in the recent past. He might close the deal today. He's a racer's racer. He's hardcore, and what an extraordinary conclusion he's going to peak out in this race today. Can you believe this?
It's crazy. 31-year-old Kiwi who's looking for his first win at the great race. He's playing the 26-year-old young Australian in the Monster Mustang.
They've been reduced to very, very low speed.
They're trying to maximise the amount of laps, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be my next point. That when you do that, your tyres cool out, pressure down even more. Also got to be a little bit careful sometimes just with temps, with water temp. These cars rely on airflow. He's cramping up a little bit, so you can see that Chaz Mostert was just stretching out his wrist, forearm, and that's from the thousands of gear changes that you do, and it's easy to over-squeeze the steering wheel around this racetrack for obvious reasons, particularly when there's a bit at stake.
I call it white knuckle fever.
That's exactly what it is. The car's on the back of the truck, a recovery vehicle. That's good news. So shortly they'll get that clear of the area.
So what do you do as your technique? Because we've seen one technique that Van Gisbergen used, and he did a nice job of it, but he went reasonably late. So do you go earlier? So do you, as you come under the Dunlop Bridge, do you fire it up earlier, but you run the risk of overrunning the final corner and making a little bit of an understeer turn in, and then Waters get to run on you. So how do you minimise your risk?
By doing what you do naturally and not being too fancy.
Yeah, that's pretty right.
I reckon, you know, just don't get too cagey. You know, he's a great racer. He's vastly experienced. And he's got command of the race. He's got track position. So use all of those advantages in your back pocket and go down there on the racing line and do sensible things. And it'll probably work out. But I reckon if you try and play cagey games, oh, I'll slow him up a bit, or I'll run him in, I'll do this, or I'll do that, that's where you're more likely out of rhythm to do something that can trip you over.
So that's what we're trying to get to, is the technique you use, the strategy you use to recommence the race. There's effectively the go point. So restart this lap. This is on. KO safety car.
Lights are out. Accelerating away from the field. Leader has held.
And it's the go point we're talking about. It's what you do right now when the safety car goes in. What you do from Van Gisbergen's perspective to recommence this race. 4 laps remaining.
When they across the line, that becomes 3. It's 18 kilometres of racing is going to determine the final outcome. Here's one question answered. How much stalking is Waters doing?
There you go.
He's all over it. He was literally on the rear bumper of that thing. He left his signature on it, and away goes Shane. We've got green flags down to the final corner. They've got to pull them up accurately. They've got to grab the throttles neatly and nicely right here as we go racing, probably for the final time this weekend at Mount Panorama. Green flag. And it's Van Gisbergen over Waters. Boston right with Waters as they make their run up the hill. This is going to be epic with 3 laps remaining.
He got a better run that time, Waters. But Boston played himself into this also because that was a far better restart for Mostert this time.
Riding with chance. He's in with a shot here. Mark Winterbottom's covering in the background down there in 8th position at the moment. And look at the 2 Shelby now racing 2 cars in 4th and 5th. They are in the hunt as well. We ride on board in 3rd position with Mostert on the run up to turn 4. They're all covering to the inside. The experienced players know that you can be done in on the run up there. So now Van Gisbergen skips away by 0.2 of a second as they make the run up to the top of the hill. The quarry on the left, they grab 4th gear. This is 200 kilometres an hour as they bomb down into the metal grade. Now accelerating from Reed Park to McPhilliby. The cars jump up on 2 wheels and then they blast towards Skyline. This is 220 kilometres an hour. There's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all minus 3rd. Van Gisbergen, Waters, Mostert, Coulthard, then McLaughlin, and covering the lot of them at the moment is 1.7 seconds.
Extraordinary motor race. So what does Cam Waters do? He's got to try to come out of here, out of Forest Elbow, and get a run, get in the toe, and get a slipstream.
Pressure's still coming up.
Pressures are still coming up is the word from Bradley Person. He's telling him to be a little bit cautious with the way he grabs the brake pedal when he gets to the bottom of the hill of the chase. If he gets too early, those tyres are not up to 10 more pressure. What a great conclusion to this motor race. Van Gisbergen might have one finger on the trophy, but he's only got a couple of car lengths in hand. It's Van Gisbergen over Waters and then Boston. What a race. This time through, it will be 2 laps remaining and 12 kilometres of racing. To Murray's corner, Van Gisbergen still in command. Waters, Mostert, Coulthard, McLaughlin, Pye, Holdsworth, Winterbottom, Di Pasquale and James Courtney 10th. A lap speed check. Van Gisbergen did a 6.8, Waters did a 7.1, Mostert did a 7.3, Coulthard a 7.8 together with his teammate. Shane has got the pace of the moment.
He absolutely has. That was a very, very good restart and a good first lap. Based on tyre condition and temperature, he's been able to put that to good effect. So 0.5 per second separates 1st and 2nd.
What a lap from Van Gisbergen when it mattered most. Yep, fastest final sector, fastest lap of the race so far. A 2-minute 5.7 is the quickest that they've done, and an unbelievable job to punch out a 6.8 under pressure. That might have been the little pressure relief that he needed on that lap, on the restart, on a cold tyre. He glides it up to the concrete wall. There's millimetres to the left of that thing. This means everything for Van Gisbergen. Look at those things hunting over the top of the mountain. Pressure motor racing, nothing in it, and everything to play for.
The 2 young men that are looking for their first win of the great race. The Kiwi is 31 years of age, top right. The young bloke from Mildura, 26 years of age. Cam Waters, who's trying to get this monster Mustang into a spot that's close enough to get a run on Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen has done a beautiful job across the top of the hill. He's gapped them across the top of the hill by about 0.4 of a second. Beautiful job, Van Gisbergen.
It's been an immaculate drive today so far for Shane Van Gisbergen. And very soon, it'll be 1 lap to go. Turned on something special in those semi-wet conditions earlier in the day. And he has got another finger on this trophy now. The Peter Brock trophy is getting closer to him. He opens up that margin to 3/4 of a second. Garth Tander might pick up another victory here. And for Triple 8 Race Engineering, they're one of the teams that have been ultra successful here. They have earned a heap of victories, 7 of them in 06, 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 and 18. They might be about to get another one with 1 lap remaining. We've got a 9/10 of a second margin. Currently the podium is Van Gis, Waters and Mostert. Fastest again in the last sector for Van Gisbergen. What an incredible drive for him today. The last and most important lap of this absolute concentration.
A 5.64 on that lap's the fastest lap of the race on lap 160. That's an emphatic statement by Van Gisbergen. Holden won 33 times on the mountain. Is this their 34th? They've won 569 race wins in the Australian Touring Car Championship or Supercars Championship. Will this be 570?
They dare not blink, they dare not breathe. And Triple A Race Engineering, the Repco Holden Racing team. It might be win number 40 in his career for Van Gisbergen. He's been on the podium 115 times, but if he can pull this one off, it'll be special. Runs it over the top of the hill for the last time for Shane Van Gisbergen. 3 kilometres remaining, that's all that separates him from the greatest prize in Australian motorsport. Shane Van Gisbergen has got control of this motor race. He's put together a beautiful drive today. Cam Waters in second place. What a performance. Lines it up through Forest Elbow. Remember the start of the weekend? That's where it all went sideways for him with Tim Slade early in the day. But now the last sequence of gear changes. And stop and consider this, Mark. He was the runner-up here in 2016. He missed out by 1/10 of a second. He was the runner-up here last year. He missed out by 7/10 of a second. But more telling was in 2014. He had this thing by the throat and it got away from him. He should have won on that occasion, but he's going to do it today. He makes the run down to the final corner and Shane Van Gisbergen is about to put his foot on the brake for the very last time and line it up to the checkered flag. The 31-year-old Kiwi is the master of Bathurst and Shane Van Gisbergen takes victory at Mount Panorama.
Repco
Holden Racing team and Triple A Racing have just succeeded. And for Holden, in their final year with the brand being retired from Australia, have won Australia's biggest motor race. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
4 victories. Number 4 is sweet. First one, though, for Shane Van Gisbergen. A beautiful drive today for Cam Waters. On the last lap of the race, Coulthard and McLaughlin did their fastest laps today. 5.9 for Fabian, 6 flat for McLaughlin. They came home in 4th and 5th, but there's your podium. Chaz Boston gets on the podium again.